My name is Mark Martin, and today I want to talk about teacher dialogue and how to do that effectively. A couple months ago, I gave out an instruction online to basically come up with a design poster because I was teaching creative media at the time. And I thought that I assumed that the students would have known the instruction that I'd given them and basically kind of left the platform open for them to bring any comments or any kind of suggestions. And what I found is that no one responded. And I had to look at the way I was kind of communicating with the students. Did I give them enough opportunities? Did I give them enough pathways to be able to do that? And when I asked for the working second time, there was a massive improvement. Why? Because I felt that the communication channels and the dialogue that I formed within my sessions was able to empower students and give them confidence in terms of when they were stuck. So I'm going to kind of provide some few tips on how I've done it and how you could potentially use it in your practice. So one of the things that I would recommend if you're working online or offline is around how do students contact you? Do they contact you via email? Do they contact you via the VLE chat messaging system? Do they contact you by writing a letter? How do students contact you in today's kind of norm? And then also what you got to think about is then how do you respond to that? How do you give feedback? Because you're in a classroom, you can give real quick verbal feedback. But if you're not in a classroom, how do you do that effectively? How do you support them through that process? And one of the things that I've been exploring is around, can we role play or can we create a cheat sheet for creating dialogue with our students? So if our students are stuck, they've got a menu of ways of how they can respond to the teacher and also how they can respond to the work that they are trying to complete. And then also when you are online and doing the role play or you're actually leading a session, it might be that you might want to use emojis. A thumbs up if things are well, thumbs down if they didn't understand it, a heart if they love what they're hearing, or and so forth. So you can be creative in terms of the different functionality of these tools if you are teaching online and you are trying to get that feedback or dialogue with your students as you're actually delivering the content. Another thing is that when you are delivering content, it's about pausing at different milestones. So when you have delivered, whether it's the lesson objectives or where you've delivered activity one, you might want to put a poll in. You might want to put an activity in where you are creating that feedback and giving young people time to respond. I think that's a really important thing because sometimes we like to, rush through the different tasks and different activities. But if we're creating more opportunity for our students to actually pause, think, digest what we're saying, then being able to respond, giving them different pathways and also routes to be able to respond to you, whether that's online and offline. So these are some of the tips that I've used in my classroom to really inspire my students to really think about, one, if a teacher gives you out an instruction, what are the different ways you can actually communicate with us? And also, how do you communicate effectively? And then lastly, I want you to think about, is there any other kind of tools that you can use, whether it's Padlet or Seesaw, that once you are kind of going through that content, students can actually write something into that platform to showcase that they're understanding that. And I think that that might be the future in terms of when you are delivering the session, you might have a mood board or you might have a kind of a kind of working space where students can throw in comments, throw in suggestions as you are delivering the content. So try these few things out. Let us know how you get along, and thank you for tuning in to Blend Ed.